Alright, so last time I had to scrap my previous recording because there were a few things that I didn't really like in regards to what I said, but that's what happens when you go off script. So for now I have a little outline just to try and work with that out. In any case, we are talking about Activision-Blizzard and everything that's been going on with them, with all the harassment claims, and of course the state of California suing both Activision-Blizzard because they are one company since the merger from I don't remember when. This is a big deal. This is something that shouldn't happen in any business or any company, much less one that develops games for essentially kids. And with that said, these harassment claims are very serious. We do have some reports about at least one person committing, I can't really say that word, but self-deletion in regards to these claims. And just overall, not a good sight for Activision Blizzard at this time. A lot of these claims seem to be going on the Blizzard side. We will have to see what's going to happen with Activision. In any case, we have to make sure that we get the right people and that we don't throw out anyone that was actually innocent. Not trying to say anyone is in particular, not trying to say anyone isn't. I'm just trying to state that let's make sure that this is done right, the right people get punished. That's basically it. This is something that has been plaguing Blizzard for a while, for quite a few years. And of course, with streamers and other people who cover World of Warcraft, you know, they're saying that yes, the game has deteriorated in both polish and features and gameplay overall, and things are been getting broken the moment they get released into the game itself. I have no doubt that some of this does come down to those harassment claims and people not being as productive as they should be and actually doing their job when they are messing around, like in regards to what we know currently about the situation. So of course, this is a very touchy subject and one that I don't really feel comfortable talking about. I don't think anyone feels comfortable talking about stuff like this. And yeah, I'm not going to be the one that's going to go into great details about them. Just know that they are very specific things that had happened, and they are not something that should be happening in a workplace. And it does seem like whatever kind of workplace they have there currently is not in the best spirits, and it's not something that I feel should be the kind of environment that a video game industry or a video game company should be taken part of. You know, when they're talking about like frat boy culture and stuff like that, that really shouldn't exist in any industry again, but more so the gaming industry. It is a sad sight to see, and just something that we're going to have to wait quite a few months to find any answers from, and see what happens from then. Hopefully we will get true answers, hopefully things will turn around, and we can go back to living life as normally as we possibly can after these events, and just see what happens. So with that said, I know that's a very short summary of what's going on, but again, if I go into any further details, I'm not going to feel comfortable doing so. You know, these games on World of Warcraft, they've been struggling to keep up, they've been struggling to have consistent updates, consistent patches, and every time they introduce something, something breaks. So definitely there are a lot of things going on there that just shows that something's lacking, and whether that's just like them not holding on to their own deadlines, them just messing around and not actually doing their job, and also of course their harassment claims. It is not an easy thing to deal with. Everyone is dealing with it very differently than others. I, on the other hand, I don't have any hand in World of Warcraft. I never played the game, never played a free trial of it. It never interested me. I don't feel like ever playing that game, just not really my cup of tea. I can sympathize with pretty much everyone in that situation, especially anyone that plays that game often, and just not being able to actually enjoy it because of everything going on, and there being different kind of strikes and whatnot. But let's make sure that we target the real people, target the people that should be getting punished, and not the streamers, not the YouTubers, not anyone that's covering this or anyone that's continuing to play their games because that's what their channel is based off of. It's one of those things where you can't put all your eggs in one basket, but sometimes that does get forced on you when you're in this kind of situation. Your content does revolve around one or two games, and if they both happen to be made by Activision Blizzard, I mean, there's not really a whole lot you can do to convince your audience that you're not trying to be a part of the whole harassment thing, right? It's a sad situation. Hopefully something happens and we get more clear answers on it, but that's all I'm going to say for now. And outside of that, we are going to be talking about Warzone, because this is a bit of a two-part video. And so just to sorry state that Warzone's in. I'm very curious in regards to if these claims do lean on to Activision, because that would kind of make sense in regards to like the amount of incompetence going on with Warzone and Call of Duty as its own franchise since Cold War of essentially this year, but was released last year. Moving on with that, Warzone has always been in a bad state. There hasn't really been a good time that the game was great. My only favorite meta back in the day would be back when the Growl was doing really well. Because the Growl and Kilo, yeah, they were kind of overpowered in a sense, but at the same time, it wasn't like you were going to die instantly. They just held their damage at a longer range than most of the rifles, and so they were great for long range combat. Now they're basically pea shooters. Warzone is also having a lot of issues with hacking, but I'm just going to try and go through essentially the big things real quick. Of course, one of them being gun balance, where all the Cold War guns are being balanced to be better than the Modern Warfare guns, with the exception of 1 or 2. The Modern Warfare MP5 works really well. The AMAX can hold its ground still, at least for now, provided they don't continue to nerf it to the ground. And of course your sniper rifles, your Kar 98K, and that's about it. You can also include the shotguns in there as well, even though people are using or preferring the Cold War shotguns. So this is just an issue, because weapon balance should be balanced across the board, and it's not. It's never been balanced across the board. There's always 2 or 3 guns that are constantly better than everything else, which is fine. You can kind of expect that in regards to a meta and the kind of weapons that will be best for the kind of game that Warzone is. But at the same time, for them to constantly change it back and forth and not really have a good answer or a clear answer as to, exactly how they're going to fix it, and just coming up with all these different changes that don't work all that well. Outside of that, we haven't had a new map since the game released, and that's very sad. I had mentioned this in a previous video where like about 7 or 8 months after Apex Legends launched, we already had our second map and we were on our second season. Technically third, because when Apex launched it was Season 0, then Season 1, then Season 2. So we had 3 seasons out of Apex Legends and a new map on the 3rd season from the time it launched to about December, if I recall correctly. And this is just sad. And I know people are going to say, well, we do have a flashback version of Verdansk, but you're really just kidding yourself, because all that did was add 2 new places that are actually good to go through, and then just everything else being reskinned to look a little differently, the stadium to look like it's just starting to be built. We have a tower in the middle of downtown that makes 0 sense why it would have been demolished by the time of 2019 or 2020. It is a mess. It's just something that doesn't make any sense, and we should not need to be in Verdansk anymore. We should have a different map by this time. You can defend Activision all you want, saying, oh, it's a free-to-play game, but you can't really say that when they're making literally billions of dollars off of microtransactions from Call of Duty alone. This is just pure incompetence from Activision and the unwillingness to actually support their live service game and actually do something to make it stand out from the competition. This is also a trap that we've seen before with PUBG, where, well, whoever talks about PUBG anymore, right? Anyways, moving on. Yes, the hacking situation is just very, very out of control. Ban waves isn't going to do anything. Actively having some sort of anti-cheat in the game would be very helpful, and something that can prevent a lot of hackers and a lot of cheaters. And it may not stop the problem. It's going to be almost impossible to stop hacking in a free-to-play game, but you can mitigate it to be a lot less noticeable. You can mitigate it to be a lot less consistent. Of course, every game is going to have its issues, but I do think that in regards to the lifespan of a game, the big thing is going to be hacking first, and then after that, it's going to be your servers, and after that, it's going to be your map. If you can't stop the hacking, people are going to continue hacking, and the game's just going to be a barren wasteland because of all the hackers. If you don't have great servers, and the netcode is horrible, and you never do anything to fix that, people are going to stop playing it competitively. And then if you don't change your map, well, people are going to get bored and leave anyways. And it's just kind of funny how Warzone has all 3 of those issues, and none of them are being fixed actively. Ban waves aren't going to do anything. You need active protection, literally. You need something that is actively going to hunt out and ban cheats mid-game, that are going to ban cheats in the middle of the action, and things like that. The whole point of hacking is very much like a virus. It's something that's designed to bypass an anti-cheat system or an anti-hack system. Trying to stop that isn't simple, it's very complex, and the people that are creating these kind of defenses can't even tell you what they're doing, because if they did, then the cheaters can just reverse engineer that and bypass it entirely. That's why we have the kind of cheats that we have in Warzone, and why none of them have been fixed or patched. Whereas in other games, some hacks may still exist, some hacks may still work, but you will have certain hacks that are just like outright near impossible to have working without the game catching you in the act. I do think a big problem with this is because these games don't always have the option for a replay system built in. So essentially, once the game is done, all we have are numbers and stats. We don't actually have video evidence of the game taking place. And I do feel that if there is a way to have active replays, maybe they do, and we just don't know about it. But if they do have active replays in Warzone, then the hacking situation should be far less than what it is now, in my opinion. And I'm just thinking creatively. I can't really say exactly what can be done, but I do feel that with a replay system and some proper anti-cheat system, you can catch a lot of hackers very quickly. I also did mention that in a previous video where around the same time that Warzone banned 50,000 players, Apex Legends had already banned like over 100,000 players or something crazy like that. And I called it from day one, Modern Warfare 2019, when before that game even launched. I said that I don't know about the hacking situation. It would really suck if they don't do anything about it. Here we are 2 years later, and they haven't done anything about it, and Warzone is very much in a state of basically dying at this point. With that said, I can't really support playing Warzone a whole lot longer, and I don't want to because Halo Infinite and Battlefield 2042 are on their way, and I will definitely be switching to them. Battle Royales are not my strong suit, they never have been. Apex Legends was a lot of fun when I used to play it, kind of got bored of it, and now of course Warzone's on its way out because of the incompetence of Activision for actively, ironically enough, supporting their own game and making it last longer than a year. So with that said, I will be releasing a highlight video most likely next week with the last few clips that I got from Warzone. Most of them coming from Rebirth Island because that's just a lot more fun for me with all the respawns and just the crazy kind of action you can get out of that game and out of that mode outside of Verdansk and the regular Battle Royale system. So in any case, that basically covers everything that I want to talk about. I know I'm going to rant a lot about Warzone because that's where I have most of my time in, and by no means is that any representation of what I feel about the harassments and everything. I think I kind of made it clear how sensitive I feel about it, and that definitely does need to be fixed. And probably a lot sooner rather than later, but we'll have to see what happens and what the company will do to those people currently that are under investigation, whether they will suspend them or they will do something to keep them out of certain projects or out of the next patches. I don't know. In any case, that's all I got for today and for this week. Until then, thank you very much for watching. Stay safe, everyone. I am Mr. Rain, and I'll see you guys next time.
Oh my god. I've never used a PPSH like that before. I've never had a loadout.
Bro, good shit, man.
No, dude, Rain clutched that shit. I was just a cleanup crew.